Crusaders and Reds. This is a preview for next week for the quarterfinal. Crusaders finished second, 28 points to 15 winners over the Reds, who are going to finish 7th. We're going to go over some key event stats, and you guys can know your thoughts on how this preliminary, seemingly quarterfinal game preview went. And we'll see how we go. Both sides a little bit disrupted, HIAs. Sever Reese goes off. Fassler goes off, both of them with HIAs within the first 10 minutes. And Brent Hall didn't even make the starting lineup. He pulled out, I think it was like a leg injury for him. But yeah, a bit disrupted, unfortunately. I hope those guys all recover pretty quickly. But speaking of quick, I think it's this lead that the Crusaders take early that really puts the Reds, I was going to say Rebels, on the back foot. Burke and Jordan tries on 11 and 15 minutes. And they've had all the territory, the Crusaders. It was a bit, I don't know. The Reds start was just too slow. You can't be starting the game that much under the pump against the Crusaders down in Christchurch and realistically expect to get a result. You need to be competitive for 80 minutes, and I don't think they were at the start. Will Jordan, if you put money on him for just any time try scorer, pretty much every match he plays in for the Crusaders, you're bound to come up. You're bound to win more than you lose. But, the closest the Reds got early was McDermott with a quick tap from like 5 metres out, but even that got turned over by Whainga Nuku. So, not the best start to the game for the Reds, and the Crusaders were just looking their usual selves. And even the Crusaders, I don't think were as slick as we know they can be. Like, they were kind of cruising without being put under a heap of pressure, I felt anyway. The Reds did get a penalty to make it 14-3, so at least they're on the board. And my son came in and started watching the game with me and gave me about a 5-minute lecture on colours, saying that it's weird for the Reds not to be wearing red when they're called the Reds, and how the Blues may be also in a similar situation if they played a team in blue. So that was enlightening. Probably went on for a little bit long, but it was kind of cute to get my boy into rugby. I'm happy to go with that. He's got his game tomorrow, so good luck. Good luck to his boys. But the Reds were wearing a blacky bluey colour because they were in Christchurch, and the Crusaders were wearing red. The Crusaders get a maul try on 36 minutes. McAllister, 21-3. So the Reds have got a fat lot of nothing to show, or for 3 points, really, to show for any kind of first half pressure. And the Crusaders have been good without being fantastic. I think Crusaders fans would probably admit that. They could have even been better. Crusaders have had 59% possession, 52% territory at halftime. Run meters is 264 to 101, so it's pretty dominant. The Crusaders are tackling at 93%. They're not letting anything go. And the Reds are at 76, so way below their normal standard. Second half, Will Jordan does get held up, so he's denied a double. The Reds on like 52 minutes have got a pretty key chance. The Crusaders were guilty of this earlier as well, but like 5-metre line out. I think the Reds one was an overthrow. The Crusaders one was a not straight, but just that kind of like soft turnover conceded, you know what I mean? Like when you need to be clinical, you need to get back into the game, you need to win your line out and you overthrow it. So it's a bit of a get out of jail, but the Reds are helped by the fact that Pablo Matera, when he's cleaning out Jordi Pataya, kind of tips him and drops him. He looks like he's pretty guilty, like in his reaction was like, oh, what have I done after that one? I don't think he meant it, but he's lucky to get yellow. I think one angle showed him falling on his shoulder and then kind of his neck. That probably saved him from a red card. Whether the judiciary looks at that or not, not sure, but it's about an ugly looking yellow as you would have seen, but he gets yellow carded. So that gives the Reds a chance to punish, and sure enough, 15 phases. They actually managed to crack that Crusaders defense from close range. Asiata goes over on 57. So 21-10. Is that game on? Well, Christie scores 10 minutes later, so not really. The game's not. It doesn't get to the point where the Crusaders are realistically in any threat of losing this game. Not really. 28-10. Wilson does get the final say in the last 10 minutes with a pretty well trained. He was busy all game, to be fair, Harry Wilson. He's a guy who wants his Wallabies jumper back. So it finishes 28-15, but that's all she wrote. The possession and territory evens out. 50-50 possession. and territories 55-45. So I mean, remember the possession was totally dominant for the Crusaders in the first half. So at least that evens out. The territory's actually gone a little bit more with the Crusaders. Turnovers conceded 16 apiece. That's a bit high. I don't think either side will be that happy with that. That's what I mean about, like, the Crusaders will probably look back on this and go, we could have been more clinical too. But they tackled at 88%, which is pretty solid. They made 168 tackles, which is a fair few. The Reds made at 83%, which is certainly a big improvement on the first half. 144 tackles for them. But run meters, 530 to 308. Crusaders pretty dominant. Clean break, 6-2. Crusaders pretty dominant. I mean, Will Jordan, 90 run meters, a clean break, and 6 defenders beaten. And that's not even him at kind of his finest. He was cut down a few times before he could find the space. So, yeah, there's more to come from this Crusader side for sure. McWright, 16 from 17 tackles. Carries pretty well. It does give away 3 penalties, but yeah, I think both these teams can be better. And it's going to be interesting having them go back-to-back to see kind of like a chess game, like which one tries to figure the other one a bit more, eh? Like which coach learned more from that game. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts. Like I said, Crusaders pretty deserving winners. Reds a bit too slow out of the blocks. But 28-15 is not a hiding, but it's still pretty comfortable. So yeah, there you go. You guys let me know your thoughts, and we look forward to a pretty full-on Saturday tomorrow, starting with my son's game in the morning. Anyway, you guys take care. See you later.